we are going to be making a silverware sack. What's a silverware sack? Let me show you. Here's how the silverware sack works. In here, I have my silverware. Pretend this is my lunch at work. Take my spoon out of the silverware sack, eat my lunch, and put it back in. And then get back to work. Then, when I get home, spoon goes in the sink, silverware sack goes in the washing machine. For this project, you will need pencil, scissors, ruler, fabric, and some silverware to measure. And of course some large paper. Although this project is small enough that you could probably get away with taping together 2 sheets of computer paper. The first step is to measure your longest utensil. I'm not much of a straw person, but this is the longest utensil that I might consider carrying around. And it measures 10.5 inches. The next step is math, alright? So, ten and a half times 2 is 21 plus 2 inches on either side $25. So you're going to draw a line 25 inches long, or whatever measurement that you have come up with. Well, I find the big ruler to be easier. You could definitely get away with using the smaller one. I'm going to make my silverware sack 4¼ inches wide, and the reason for that is so that I can draw a nice looking line at 5 inches, and then I'll have 3/8 inch seam allowance on either side. It'll be great. So at each end, square off 5 inches. Since this is a rectangle, I'm adding the seam allowance as I draw. Because rectangles are unbelievably easy. Rectangles are my favorite thing to make. Alright, complete your rectangle. And then the next step is going to be to make the point at the tip. Find the center, which the center of 5 inches is going to be 2.5. And we're going to square up from there 2 inches. And draw the point. Make it a triangle. Which I guess then is making this whole shape technically a pentagon, even though it's really long. And then cut it out. You can, if you so choose, write on here the seam allowance that you give yourself, so that way if you stop and come back to it a few days later, you don't forget. 3/8 inch seam allowance and cut 2. You're going to write on there because we're going to cut 2 of them. They do not have to be of the same fabric, because one's going to be inside, one's on the outside. And even if they weren't, that's really a design choice if you want 2 different fabrics. I recommend something kind of crispy and definitely something washable. Oh, I also should mention that you will need a fastener of some sort. I like a button. You could also use a snap, or if you are someone with old fuddy-duddy fingers, then you might consider a magnetic snap. The first step in sewing it is to match the stitching line of the bottom corners to the top right and top left corners. And stitch. You could pin this if you wanted to, absolutely. I'm not going to. You are welcome to use any color thread you like. I feel matchy-matchy today, so I'm using gray on gray. And do the other side. Set that off to the side, and then take the other one, and you'll do the same thing. So I have several silverware sacks, and the reason for that is because I take utensils to work for lunch just about every day. I actually don't like to eat with my fingers at work because I have a kind of a dirty job. And even after washing my hands, I don't want to touch my food. So I basically never eat sandwiches. And it's a good idea to have several silverware sacks because then you have many to when you get one dirty, you put it in the wash, but you still have another one. You know what I mean? And by bringing your own silverware, you're saving the planet by not using disposable plastic silverware. And this project uses up leftover fabric that would probably otherwise go into the landfill or the compost pile. Because textiles are notoriously difficult to recycle. Alright, so the next step, I want you to turn one of them right side out. And the one that's right side out is going to go inside the other one. Pinch, pull out. Then, this is where we do use the pins. I'm going to pin right here at the point, the center point of the fold over flap. And then make sure that everything at the mouth of the silverware sack lines up. Put some more pins in it if you so desire. So I like to pin the seam allowances so that they are open. I think that makes it easier to sew. Open. And then we're going to sew. And we are going to start. I'm going to start right here. We're going to sew around here, and we're going to stop at the same spot on the other side. To clip at the center point, and I'm also going to clip this area by the seam. And then in this part that we've left open here, I'm going to use that to turn it right side out. And we have something that is starting to really look like a silverware set. This part that's open here, we are going to fold the edges in 3/8 of an inch. And you can clean them, absolutely. You could even press this if you really wanted to. Hadn't planned on doing that though. Is to top stitch. This area that we've pinned is where I'm going to start, and I'm going to sew approximately 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Trim your extra threads. If you're going to use a button, choose it now. This is a great project for using up a solo button, one that you just have one of. I recommend small, but not too small. You don't want some big giant honker on there, but you also need something that's sizable enough to, you know, manipulate with your fingers. If you're going to use a snap, then you will sew the snap on, obviously. I'm going to use a button. So the first thing that we're going to do in regards to the button is we're going to mark the buttonhole, and I'm going to do this just by putting pins at the top and the bottom. So I have a pin here and a pin here, marking where the top and bottom of the buttonhole is going to be. Snip open your buttonhole. Marked with a pin where the button goes, the best way to find where that is to put the longest utensil you have in the silverware sack and fold it over. And see, the buttonhole lines up with that pin there, and then we're going to sew the button on. And that is how you make a silverware sack.